York Revival, I'm in the building.
Let's
go.
Live with the Revival.
Let's go.
Let's go. Oh, y'all know what this is. Peace and blessings. It is your boy, Eli Rax, a.k.a. Vibes, and welcome to New York Revival, where it's not just sports, it's entertainment. And I'm here with my brothers, man. You guys know who they are, and that's Mr. Glass Half Full of Nets. Spee if you nasty now.
Let's go.
Let's go. And I'm here with my brother El Jefe, a.k.a. White Jersey, a.k.a. Blue Jersey, a.k.a. Hard Knocks. That's how we're going to do it now. I don't know why. We'll figure it out. Well. And shout out to you. You're right. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
I got to write a new sketch for you. I got to give you something else.
You need to help him out.
I just don't like the damn it, Daniel. Like a lot of people, they give us hell. They give us too much hell, and I ain't trying to put us through all this hell. But shout out to you. Yes, you, the Revivalists in the chat. Please hit that thumbs up, share, and subscribe. We do appreciate all the support. Well, we just started noticing recently that you guys can comment on X, and we can actually see it from there as well. So hit that comment on X, man. We didn't know that we had that capability. So we know most of our followers on there pretty much watch the X, but keep on over to YouTube, man. Help a brother out. Hit that subscribe button as well. But guys, we got a lot to go over, man. I ain't even gonna get into. I'm just gonna do this right here. I'm not even gonna go around the room. There's no need. We did all that yesterday. I ain't gonna cuss yet because we gotta make sure.
Yesterday, if you guys had time.
Facts. And listen, man, I ain't gonna cuss just yet because we gotta monetize this thing, and we gotta wait a few seconds before we start cussing. But here's why I got my shades on, and the guys had to follow suit a little bit here because gotta set the tone sometimes. But I think there's gonna be some pushback here, and it's quite fine. It's what we do here at the Revival. We're brothers, man. It's what we do. But you know why I got my shades on, man?
Why you
happy with what I saw, man? We're gonna recap HBO Hard Knocks here. And I'm going to just go with off a glance here. I like what I saw from Joe Shane and company. It shows that there's a game plan here that is not going to take overnight to build this roster here. Joe Shane showed that he was competent enough to actually build the team for us and a winning team at that. Brandon Brown, like all those guys there around him, he got the perfect people around him. Now, listen, we're going to break down what he said and etc. But when John Mara came into the office and he was like, yo, man, I can't pay Saquon, but just not willing to pay him more than $7 million or whatever. And I'm paraphrasing, of course, guys. You guys know what he said. You know what I mean? But the fact that Saquon's not here shows that he wasn't budging on John Mara either. And we're going to break that down. We're not going to get there, but I just want to get an overall glance of what you guys thought. But I think we have a competent GM there. I really do think so, but El Jefe, give me your thoughts, man, your overview glance, man. We're going to start with that right there.
From a high level, it was cool to see your team on Hard Knocks. Let's just start there because they do such a good job. That voiceover guy, I mean, I could listen to that guy talk about
Liv Schreiber, baby. That's Liv Schreiber.
Shout out.
Got a great voice.
God.
It sounds awesome. It was cool to get the insight, but I didn't leave with the same sentiment that this is like everyone's on the same page, moving in the right direction. Like I saw an owner, after convincing the GM to stick and pay the quarterback, was trying to get in there and say, now pay the running back too. And the line of the night for me was, you're not going to have a $40 million quarterback handed off to a $12 million running back.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing? Like Joe Shane, that was the most confident thing. He looked John Mara in the eye and said, we're not handing the ball off when we have a $40 million quarterback.
Yes.
And I'm like, fuck, like that was the best thing Joe Shane said in that whole episode. Otherwise, I didn't get a lot of confidence from Joe Shane. A lot of this guy knows exactly what he's doing. And no, it doesn't happen overnight, but this is 3 drafts that he's had. This roster is his. This isn't overnight anymore. This is his team. So if it's not a good product right now, it's on Joe Shane and it's on John Mara. You know what I mean? And Brian Daboll, it was a quiet episode for him. I assume we'll hear a lot more from him moving forward. But overall, I have much more confidence in Daboll than I do Shane at the moment.
Speed.
I mean,
what's your thoughts?
Yeah, listen, I think what we have to realize here on a larger scale is this is the first episode that is all front office. There's no cutting to the players, clips of them practicing and clips of them joking around. You have to level set here. It's not going to be, not the coaches talking. It's just the front office. And these guys aren't, built to be in front of a camera acting essentially all day long, every day. So you got to take that into consideration here. So I think everything that they're saying, it almost felt like they were acting and it was kind of calculated, and it felt awkward at times. Yeah. But of course, like, this is the first go around with this, and it might have been the same with any other GM, because they're not trying to give too much. They obviously edit everything else out. So there's a little bit of acting, and a lot of things that we heard, I'm like, they can't really, this can't be the everyday talk, because this is all mundane shit that we already talked about like months ago. It doesn't make sense. But at the end of the day, I'm taking it with a grain of salt. Again, like you said, it's fun to watch your team being on Hard Knocks and see working, see how these guys converse and all that. When it comes to the day-to-day things, I would like Eli said, I'm happy how we saw Mara try to meddle, and I think that's what owners do. Owners love the players. They love their organization. Not all owners do. I think a guy like Mara does. He bleeds blue. So he loves DJ. He loves Saquon. It's up to your GM to stick up to and make the reasonable decision, the smart decision for the franchise long term. He's not supposed to love players. He's supposed to think hard and make hard decisions and be kind of cold sometimes. And Mara's job is to, as an owner, he loves his players. He loves his product. And I think this is what I'm trying to say is I think that's normal. I think that there's going to be different directions in a lot of parts of a front office and a lot of parts of an ownership. But I think it's up to the GM to make the decision and tell the owner, no, this isn't smart to pay so-and-so X amount of money. It's not going to be good long term. And you know what? We saw that Mara didn't win that battle. He didn't win that battle, which is good in my opinion. So that's what I take from it, and amongst many other things that we're going to talk about.
Listen, let me just say this too when it comes to John Mara, right? When you did see that part where he was trying to meddle in, you know what that seemed like to me? It seemed like Joe Schoen in his first year, he was like, well, all right, maybe we have to keep Daniel Jones here, Mr. Mara, if that's what you want. That's what I took from that. And this second time around, he was going to be like, no. Fool me once, shame on you. Shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So he wasn't going for that.
He wasn't having that shit.
Second. So he's like, yo, you want us to keep Saquon? Well, listen, I can offer him $7 million here, John Mara, but that'd be an insult to him. I don't know. I think we should try. No, we're not going to do that. Because that quote alone, where he says, listen, you don't pay no one $40 million to hand it off to someone that's paying $12 million. Nah, that's not how that's going to work. That $40 million guy needs to step up. And we're going to break this down, too, what Joe Schoen was saying about Daniel Jones. Like, hey, I have faith in him. I think that's for glitz and glams. That's just my opinion. I thought that was just for the cameras. But that real true moment is like, yo, you don't pay no one $40 million to sit there and do nothing. You don't. And I think Joe Schoen, this is more of him putting his foot down this year. He's no more green behind the ears. This is third year now, right? So we understand how this goes, right? So I think he's putting his foot down more. That you see, if John Mara walks in his office and say, you know what, I think we should keep a guy. So I'm like, hell no. Like, no. Because I'm the one that's going to get fired at the end of the day. I need to build this team from the ground up here. Otherwise, I'm fired. You get what I'm saying? So I think Joe Schoen is actually, like, this is why I'm so confident that they got this. Because that little minute clip of him and John Mara going back and forth whether they keep Saquon or not, and the fact Saquon is not here, this is Joe Schoen's team. Joe Schoen, that's it. This is make or break, brother. This is it. This has to be the good product on the field. Listen, they're going to give him one more year. Don't get a twist. They're going to have him live out his contract. They're going to live out his contract. I don't want to hear it. They are. You know what I mean? But I have faith in what this front office is doing. Hands the hell down.
And to your point, I think what he said about the Saquon conversation talking about Daniel Jones gave me even more faith that this is a make or break. I know we said this 100 times, but this is the make or break year. Yes, this is
every year.
I truly believe this in my facts because he's now putting it. He said it on camera. He's putting it all on Daniel Jones. There's no more safety net. There's no more Saquon safety net. We are taking that away. We paid you money. Now go make it happen. And if he doesn't make it happen, then I truly believe that he feels in his heart of hearts that he's gone now. I don't know.
They'll move the goalpost still and say the offensive line isn't where it needs to be. And let me ask this question because I asked this on Twitter because once I put that Daniel Jones quote out, pay $40 million. Everybody say, where's the context? Listen, this offensive line is much. Even in last year, we thought it was better on paper. But when you're looking at it this year, you're like, man, okay, this is a legit upgrade. This is a legit upgrade at offensive line. Yeah. You know what I mean? At this point, are you guys confident in this offensive line, looking at it on paper and saying, okay, we done enough for Daniel Jones? Listen, guys, listen. Let me make this clear. This is exactly what you got. Like, this is just what's in the basket. So you pick the best players that's in the basket on a free agent, and it's up to the player to go up, to step up and do his thing. That's it. Like, what are we moving the goalpost for? This is the offensive line. Let's not move it anymore. So I want to ask you this, guys, and forgive me. I'm passionate. Forgive me. I'm passionate.
No, we don't.
Forgive you. This is why we're here. Yeah.
Forgive me. But I want to ask y'all this. Honestly, when you look at this offensive line, this is a legit upgrade. Do you feel like Daniel Jones has everything he needs to succeed to end all the talking and speculation at this point? Hef, what you got?
I'm not confident in the offensive line until I see it. Because you brought in Jermaine, who was like a legit starting right tackle, and you put him at guard. And now you're still relying on Evan Neal, and you're still going that direction. Then there's legit rumors, that Joe Schoen was real interested in actually taking Joe Alt with the 6th pick. Like actually doing that, which would be admitting failure in Evan Neal, which was a number 7 overall pick. That's like a can't miss situation. And everyone thought he was a can't miss prospect, but he's been awful in the NFL, if we're being honest. So we're still going to put Evan Neal at right tackle. So we are an injury away from being the same fucking unit. I mean, like Andrew Thomas is coming back healthy. Thank God. You got to hope that he's going to be himself. But like JMS had a very shaky rookie year. How could you possibly be confident in this group? If Jermaine gets hurt and Evan Neal is struggling, what are we? What do we have on the offensive line? We're talking about having a legit wide receiving core now. I think this is by far the best wide receiver core we've had since Daniel Jones has been here. This on paper is an upgrade on the offensive line, but like this is going to be Daniel Jones is going to have to make plays, make smart plays, don't turn the ball over and push the ball downfield, which is not who he's been, right? He limited turnovers in 2022 big time. That was part of his good season. But he's got to push the ball downfield and get all of these receivers involved. Otherwise, there's going to be tension. Like Malik Neighbors is way too big of a personality to just sit there and struggle and not get the ball while the Giants are losing. That's going to be a problem if the offense isn't humming.
Yeah.
And Speed, let me get your thoughts, man, because I want to add this in too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I believe, like Jeff said, on paper, everything should be almost everything is upgraded, right? The plan is to give Evan Neal one more shot, and I'm on board with that. If you have a 7th pick, give him one more shot with what should be a better offensive line coach, right? And hopefully at full health. And that is something we haven't talked about, Jeff, because like the offensive line coach is theoretically an upgrade too. So you hope that JMS takes a little bit of a jump. If Evan Neal doesn't, by all accounts, Shane has put him on the hot seat himself. So you have your right tackle, Illuminor, that can move over to right tackle. So the plan isn't now to put, and I hope that this is not the plan. I guess we got to see what transpires in practice. But the plan, I believe, is if Neal fails, you have a right tackle in the making in Illuminor to move over there, where we didn't have that last year. Yes, Azudu was playing there during minicamp, whatever. But JMS, if JMS takes that step up, if Runyon does what he's done his entire career, and Illuminor does what he's done his entire career, that's theoretically at least 3 competent positions, if not 4, if JMS comes to fruition, right?
You're absolutely right in terms of the moves they made. Like, I don't disagree with anything you said. Right. But if you notice, we need a handful of things to go right to be competent. And like history shows you that things don't go that way. Like for the Giants, I said it last night, kind of joking, that we need, dozens of things to go right just to be a wild card team. So like until this team is actually like got depth and loaded at starting positions, there's still major concerns. And this team is going nowhere if the offensive line is not right.
So one last thing I want to say, but I think everybody's kind of overreacting to that part, because I think that defense is a defensive lineman and a cornerback away from being top 10 And I'm telling you how good. I really feel great about where this defense is heading. Great. And what everybody's concerns about, the whole team revolve around the offensive line and the quarterback. Let's call a spade a spade. That's really, if we had Drake May, would we be sitting here being so negative about this whole team? I don't think so. I think this roster overall is got way less holes than it had in any time just recently. So I like where the roster is going, and I understand that quarterback is the most important position. I understand the offensive line is the key to the offense, but that's where all the question marks are, and there's a lot of uncertainty at both those spots, especially quarterback, but at offensive line too, and that's where all this negativity, I believe, is coming from.
I agree with you. You can't do anything without an offensive line. It helps your defense rest, like putting together some longer drives. Obviously helps your quarterback go through his reads and not feel like he's about to get crushed on every single play. But it's just too important of a unit, and we have struggled at this for the last decade.
Yeah. So see it, believe it when you see it thing. I 100% agree with you. 100%.
I definitely agree. You got to believe it, just see it to believe it. I dig it. But we got everything we were looking for. We got the offensive line coach that's going to hopefully develop Evan Neal into the guy that we hope he's going to be that 7th round, that he lives up to that reputation. We hope that coaching staff can actually do that at this point. You know what I mean? So we got everything we wanted. We got some new guys, some veterans in there that can help. We got a guy at right tackle that could come in if Evan Neal happens to stink. We got a guy that could do that. Maybe this summer Evan Neal can actually play guard and see where he's at there, even though I think he's a true tackle. I hate to say that. I know that's kind of crazy to say, but I think his position will be in the tackle spot. So let's see what they do from there. But I'm confident that this team, like on paper, this offensive line should do better. And you know how? Let me say this too, because Joe Shane made a comment by saying Patrick Mahomes can't even play behind this line.
Let's talk about that.
Okay. And let me say, I'm not, forgive me, man. I'm not trying to laugh, but Patrick Mahomes can't play behind this line. All right. So in this case, looking at it in hindsight, because this is all pre-recorded before the free agents, I think Joe Shane is very comfortable with the people that he bought in. So there's no more excuses for Daniel Jones this particular season at all. I think he's very, very comfortable with who the hell he signed this offseason. Let me make this clear. And let me ask you guys this, man. Can Patrick Mahomes play behind last year's offensive line? And don't mind, let me just take this lead on this one. I think he'd have been very successful behind his offensive line. Of course, we know Patrick Mahomes is on his way to being GOAT status, the #1 quarterback in the league right now as we speak. And the reason why I think he'll have success behind this offensive line is because we've seen Tyrod Taylor do it. We seen freaking Tommy Cutlets score some touchdowns behind the same, if not more broken than this offensive line than our starting quarterback did the first couple of games he was in here. I don't want to hear that, man. I don't want to hear that. Like, I don't think he would have survived behind this offensive line. That's BS, bro. We're talking about a generational talent in Patrick Mahomes. Are you nuts? If Tommy Cutlets could do it, if Tyrod Taylor can score some points, what the hell you think freaking Patrick Mahomes is going to do? What do you think?
Dude,
we'd have won more games. What do you think?
Patrick Mahomes is a leader of men. He is a brilliant playmaker. He knows where
he would keep, up too.
He would keep defenses off balance. He would do so many things that Daniel Jones doesn't. I think that was a bullshit comment.
Guys, well, that's what it is. Agreed.
You know, and like the offensive line obviously had a lot of struggles, but you would have seen Jalen Hyatt have 5 or 6 touchdowns. He would have been getting way more looks. Patrick Mahomes is the best we have on the planet right now, actively playing. So to say that is BS because, we talked about, look, Patrick Mahomes lost in the Super Bowl because his offensive line was bad. He was in the Super Bowl, with a bad offensive line.
You kidding? Joe Burrow was making it to the playoffs with a bad offensive line. Yep. Are you nuts?
And better receivers,
but goalposts for Daniel Jones.
But like,
can I just say this? Guys. I think what everybody's doing is taking everything that these guys say way too literally. I don't truly believe in his heart of hearts that Joe Shane believes Patrick Mahomes would still not be as successful. Yeah. He knows that camera is at 45-degree angle watching him. He knows exactly what he's saying when he's saying it. And it's all, I'm telling you guys, we have to take everything that's said with a grain of salt. He knows what he's saying. He knows what he's doing. John Mara might have fucking wrote the lines on his goddamn paper right in front of him as he was saying those same exact lines. This is all calculated. I think what he's trying to get at is this offensive line sucked, and that's what he's blaming on. That's That's what anybody sticking up for Daniel Jones has to hang their hat on, right? If you're bringing him back, what's the number one thing you could say? You're going to blame it on the offensive line. That's the only really thing. I mean, and then he didn't have a wide receiver one. Maybe that's it. Now you have your wide receiver one. Now you got theoretically an upgraded offensive line. So what he said was the only thing that you could say about what Daniel Jones what failed last year. And you got to take it with a grain of salt. Like, he doesn't actually think Patrick Mahomes wouldn't do better behind this offensive line. I don't think. But
he has a legit number one wide receiver. Look into my eyes, man. I'm going to take this off. Daniel Jones. Can you throw it to Malik Neighbors?
That's the key.
Not only that. I want to give blame to the offensive line, too. Offensive line, can you protect Daniel Jones long enough to get him the ball? Can you protect him long enough to process and get Malik Neighbors the ball? Can we guys actually do it this year? Can we figure it out this year? Because I tell you right now, if none of those go together and work as a cohesive unit, it's going to be a long season for the New York Giants fans and for the New York Giants, period. It's going to be a long season. I'm telling you, and I'm betting you right now. This has to work. And if Joe Shane actually said, hey, I believe in him, I didn't think he'll survive, I don't even think Patrick Mahomes would have survived it. If you believe in him, then you upgraded the offensive line this offseason, Joe Shane. You did what you had to do. Then you got the guys in here. I don't want the goalpost move no more, because he did say after that, hey, if we can't do that, if he can't be that guy, we might have to pivot. Joe Shane did say that. Listen, if he can't, and I'm paraphrasing, if he can't be that guy, he did use the word, we might have to pivot.
Yep. Joe Shane was talking like he's got job security and he's got a lot of years to figure this out. And maybe that's the best thing for the Giants. We got to see, but like, Giants fans are out of patience. That's the problem. It was a disaster. It was a dumpster fire before you got here. And then last season was another dumpster fire. So Giants fans are fed up. And I think it's hard to deal with. Let me ask you guys a question. Joe Shane had a comment where he was speaking honestly, it seemed, about the Daniel Jones, the injuries, right? And he's like, that's real. Yeah. We need a contingency plan.
Yep.
So he's like, I'm not giving up on him. He's like, but we need a plan B too. Does anyone feel like Drew Lock is a major upgrade over Tyrod Taylor, who we had in-house, who knew the offense? And
yeah, no, I don't think he is, but I think that's where I think the Drake May trade up was trying. I still believe the Drake May trade up was, they were trying to do that. Like they did. Like, I don't think
New England had no reason to move. They needed a quarterback. Like,
I mean, that was his hope of a host. But like, who was going to move the needle for you to win? Like, be a back, come in here and be a backup. It's the fears are there. That will not go away, even if he makes it through the season, which he's only made it through like one season. It just so happened to be the one season that we wish it, maybe he hadn't gotten fully healthy. But I don't think that Drew Lock is real competition or a real threat or a real backup. But is he much worse than Tyrod? I'd say he's below him, but I don't think he's much worse. I think it's just they're just throwing all the keys to DJ. It's gonna sink or swim with DJ, and if it sinks, they're drafting somebody next year. And I don't think they wanted to go ahead and spend big money, because I don't think they truly believe that they're competing for anything real this year. Like, they're not going to Super Bowl, this year. I think they know that. So
they're not a dark horse for a Super Bowl run, you're saying?
If you believe in DJ,
I'm like,
they are. But
can we finish better than third place in our own division before we talk about the Super Bowl?
Yes, facts.
Let me say this, man. With us going to the playoffs 2 years ago, it's a split when we had a bad year this season. This year will determine the next, in my opinion. I think because they have a 4-year contract. I don't think they're getting fired after this season if it's all bad, unless we go 0 for 17. Yeah. If we win 2-3 games, maybe you can start hearing the whispers. You know what I mean? But I'm telling you right now that it's a push. This is their beginning right now. I hate to tell you guys. So if you're frustrated and out of time, you're going to see this a whole nother year next year, no matter what the results is, in my humble opinion. That's what I think. You know what I mean? I don't think they're ready to move, and I think that's why Joe Shane is walking around with that cachet like, well, he don't get it. We're going to pivot. Because he knows he has a little bit more time left to get this roster right and to get his quarterback that he wants. This is why he's walking around with his chest out a little bit, and rightfully so. Because he came in, he went to the playoffs. He played with house money, and he won. Mm-hmm. Yeah, last year wasn't it. We had some injuries and etc. But guess what, man? It's a push. This is your year. Start from scratch. It's 0-0. Go ahead, man. Let's see what the next year brings, no matter how crazy it looks, unless we go 0 for 17. But to answer your question here, Hef, is it an upgrade to Tyrod Taylor? I say yes. I'm not talking about arm talent. I'm not talking about accuracy and etc. I'm talking about the availability aspect of it. Because if Tyrod Taylor was healthy throughout that entire year, we'll never know who Tommy Cutlets was. That phrase would have never been born. Tommy DeVito wouldn't have been off that bench. So this is an upgrade because we did see Drew Lock play for injured Geno Smith in the playoffs. We've seen him fight for something. We've seen it. So the kid played well. So, yes, this is an upgrade as far as availability. And if Daniel Jones can't be available, then it's going to be on Drew Lock. That's not a great contingency plan. Don't get it twisted.
He's
I'm not
younger.
saying that
he's
at
younger.
all.
He's younger, too, which is in his advantage.
But we have to trust the coaching staff to do it because if Tommy DeVito could come off the bench and do something,
that's it.
Drew Lock can too. Drew Lock can
That's
too.
it.
Come on. You know what I mean?
You said
Come on. So that's what I think, man. Honestly, I think it's an upgrade because the best ability is availability.
My biggest concern is Daniel Jones. Like last year, he seemed like to struggle even when there wasn't pressure, like mentally, right? And now you've got everyone seems to have a mental component when you come back from an ACL too. So now he's got to overcome an ACL, not fully trusting that knee. It's also part of his game. Like in his good season in 2022, you're talking about 700 rushing yards, 7 TDs, which I don't take away from him. That's part of his game. If you don't take it away from Lamar, don't take it away from Daniel Jones. Part of their game. Yards are yards. Touchdowns are touchdowns. I don't give a shit. Like I count those. So I'm not going to disrespect that part of his game, but it is a concern now. You got an ACL and a confidence problem of trusting that knee and trusting his line and these receivers. Like, can he put that all like you're asking a lot. That's my concern. Is that if you have full confidence, it's a pie in the sky thing, and it might work out that way. And I'd be fucking thrilled if all those things come to fruition. But you're relying on a lot of if statements for all that to work.
Yeah,
totally.
You said it. Those are the big ones. Like it's can he have faith in his knee and also faith in the offensive line? Because, like you said, when last year he was not seeing the whole field because, and I believe it was because he had no faith in the offensive line. Yeah. He was going one read and was expecting pressure right away. So in his mind, he's like, I can't even get to a second read. I got to look down to see what's coming at me. And that's hard for somebody to coach out of yourself, to overcome, resetting your internal clock. Can he do it? I don't know. That's going to be the key to the rest of his career this year.
Totally agree. And guys, I want to break something down because I know we kind of beat the offensive, front a little bit crazy. But how about that segment when a new the defensive coordinator comes in and he presents the entire front office with his game plan, what players he's looking for, and etc. And before that, you see Brian Daboll coming in there, kind of reading off stats like how we read off like Madden and fantasy and all the the PFF scores. Like, yeah, man, the passing was second, was third.
Yeah, PFF scores,
right. Let me ask you this, man. I'm gonna start with Mr. Glass half full on this one, man. Is that a concern with somebody reading off stats to you like that? Like, is it legit where you go, man? Like, all right, like, are you comfortable with that? Is that a red flag for you? Or is that like perfectly normal? You got to read off some sort of stats, right?
Yeah, right. And again, I think I go back to what I said earlier in this episode when I first started. I think a lot of this was done for the camera. Like, I think they have tons of guys that have read these stats probably day one. It's not something they had to regurgitate on video when making the decision. I truly hope in my heart of hearts that wasn't part of like the decision-making process. There was a lot more to it that was off camera than just like, hey, this guy had good PFF scores. I think he's the guy. Like, I hope there's more to it than just that, because there wasn't a ton else to it on video. And
they made it seem like that was the whole conversation.
Right. It's like,
I'm going to offer it to Shane. Bowen?
Offer it to Shane.
Well, can we run through his PFF scores real quick?
Right. So I'm really and I do believe that these guys aren't as dumb as that. Is like, hey, here's the PFF scores. We're going to make this decision. This is potentially huge decision on a guy. So I'm going to choose to chalk it up to HBO, shortcut in that, and that's it. For that.
One thing I would like to understand, and it's hard for us to fully grasp, but if you were not a Giants fan, because like we watched Hard Knocks for any team that was on, so we obviously have other NFL fans watching. What would your opinion be of the Giants organization after watching that?
Blah for me. It's just like there's, again, you have to be a special kind of football fan to enjoy front office inner workings too. Like, you got to be a really good big football fan, and I don't think many front offices are going to be like very entertaining. I think a lot of these guys are just blah, like you see a lot of inner workings. So to me, I think you need to see more. I think I'd be like, this is pretty fucking boring. That's honestly a little bit what I thought.
I mean, they were probably watching for Saquon, who's a star, right? He's a big time player. Maybe they were watching for that, but I mean, I wouldn't. Nobody outside of the Giants fan base is looking at Daniel Jones as a serious quarterback. No. They're looking at the Giants, who have been like, if you're a fan of like the Seahawks and you don't really follow the Giants, you're just, all you know is that the Giants have been trash for like a decade, right? For the most part. So you're watching this like, man, like what are they doing? Like, who are they? What is the plan? I didn't get a sense of like, man, these guys are getting the ship right. Like, these guys got this a firm grip on this team right now, changing the culture, changing everything. There seems like a lot of uncertainty, and maybe that's just behind the scenes conversation that happens with every team. Yeah. And I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. I want this to work. I want the Giants to win games more than anything else. That's all I'm hoping for. So it's just a lot of ifs.
Let me say this, man, as far as to answer your question a little bit, the Giants, when you watch them in their front office, right? Let me paint this picture. They remind you of like being, that white guy in an all black club. While all the black folks is kind of doing the gritty, he's kind of like, I'm gonna do this twist. Yes. That's a great analogy. I like the Giants front office isn't hip, they're not cool, and not with the times. You know what I mean? Agreed. So it can be a little bit boring. I mean, us as Giants fans, we get it, we understand it. That's what their dynamic is. Everything got to be cookie cutter. Everything got to be perfect picture. It's just not gritty. You know what I mean? So from the average fan that just watches Hard Knocks, just to be like, yo, I love the show, I love the documentary aspect of the show, they're going to look at the Giants and be like, yeah, he's that guy doing a twist, like cutting a rug. Or just cut a rug. Like, that's just what the Giants are. The white guy, the all-black club. Everybody grittying. He's in there cutting the rug, doing the twist.
As a white guy, I feel accurately portrayed there. So.
It felt like when Shane was cursing, it felt like forced, right? It felt like, fuck shit. I was like, why are you adding the fucks there? That didn't make sense. It doesn't
make sense. It's just someone's like, yo, we got to add a couple curses. And it's like the nerd friend being around the cool guys, right? It's like, fuck, man, fuckity fuck. Like, everything's a fucking fucker.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Producer was like, hey, this is HBO. You can curse. He's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, right. That's exactly Joe Shane.
He's so a nerd, vanilla. Though. Like, I think that's what it is. Like, anybody, one of the biggest takeaways from this is, like, if you think Joe Shane was cool, like, you might have to recalibrate there, because he's just a little nerd, and that's fine. That's fine if GM's a nerd. You got to be kind of nerdy. You don't have to be hip to be a good GM.
Nerdy's okay. I think my concern is that he's a nice guy, right? And I don't want a nice guy. I want someone who's going to tell Mara he's fucking crazy and to back off. Honestly.
That. No?
I think that Shane, that Shane Mara conversation held a lot of water for me. He stuck up to his owner without telling him, go fuck yourself. He essentially said, go fuck yourself, because he said, we're not doing this.
I was proud of him for that. And what you do is more important than what you say, especially 100%. In terms of like a football team and what you're doing. Like, letting Saquon walk said more than what you say behind the scenes. So I'm with you. He won that. But you still see an owner trying to get in there. In a perfect world, I'd love to keep him. That's what he's saying to his GM. Like,
in other words, make it happen, right? In other words, make it happen. That's exactly what that was. In other words, make it happen. I'm going to ask you guys this, man, because I don't know if I'm the only one. I'm the type of guy that likes to look at like stuff, and I don't know why I do this. But doesn't it look like the job has aged Joe Shane a little bit? Like, he came in, he was looking like a straight young 30-year-old man. Now he looks all of 44. Like, he looks his age. Like, I don't know. This job looks like it's aging him, man. Am I the only one that's looking at that like, damn, son? Like he looks stressed the hell out.
It's a
like
lot
he
of
eating
decisions,
something
man.
that's just not part of. Like you don't look good no more, Joe.
You're not wrong. I mean,
Whoa.
a huge amount of pressure and stress. He probably didn't age too much the first year because that was like as our brother Pest would say, free, right? No expectations. Long live Pest. I do want to touch on this real quick because Mara also said, well, we'll have to draft a running back in the high mid rounds then. And
word, he said that.
Dude, like,
Mara, get out the way.
Like, Mara, like,
get out the way.
Please,
don't get it.
Let the football people do the stuff. Like, just, but then Shane had a good comment, but then ultimately kind of contradicted himself because he was like, there's a ton of free agents, and I feel like after the first week of free agency, you're going to have a lot of value right there. But didn't he go sign Singletary on the first day of free agency?
The market, I think the market sped up. I think that was his plan. That's the thought process. But obviously plans change when people start going flying off the market a little bit quicker than you expect. I think they had a read on that, and they said, hey, we don't want to lose this guy. That was their guy they targeted. And you're right.
I do think, and this is where I was hoping the Giants would go, and Shane was saying the right things, that you have to invest in the O-line. And if the O-line's right, DJ will be better. And a professional running back will have success. It doesn't have to be Saquon. And like I said last year when we were talking about the contract stuff, how much extra yards and touchdowns does Saquon give you versus a professional running back in the same situation? And it might be an extra 200 or 300 yards because of his natural ability. It might be 2 or 3 touchdowns. Is that worth $10 million more? Right. And my answer is no. My answer is if the O-line is solid, you can have a committee, keep legs fresh, and have success. Like if our O-line is good, there's no reason Singletary can't be 1,000-yard rusher. I have no doubt about that. So why do you need a home run hitter at a position that's completely reliant on the O-line?
And this is the exact quote, what you're referring to. Daniel's making a lot of money, and it's the fork. We have to figure out, is he the guy? So we have to protect him. We need to put resources there. We'll have to find a running back. You'll find a running back. But we need to upgrade the offensive line and give him a chance. And that's what they think they did. They think that they put enough in front of him to give him a chance. And barring like regression again from JMS and these veterans not looking like veterans anymore and this coach not being good, I think they have enough to be at least slightly below average. I just don't want a bottom 10 unit. That's my bar.
Just that middle section, right?
Yeah.
11 to 20. 11 to 20.
Right. I'm fine with that. And if you can't get there, that's a bigger problem. And I believe that's still a coaching thing because there's talent in this room. There's guys that were drafted very high. There are free agents brought in that have had success elsewhere. Yeah. There's no reason why you can't be in the 20 range.
They invested.
Yeah.
It's not through lack of trying. I think there's that like coming up to this, leading up to this draft, that like no other team has actually spent more capital and invested. Like Giants have put resources there. So you just gotta, if this coach is the answer, then it changes everything because you've got talent. You've got high caliber guys there. Absolutely.
Can I just say, I want to, one more thing, and I don't know how much time we have left, but I want to just shout out 2 more guys here that came off well, in my opinion. Brown and Rossetti. I think they both came off very well. The director of pro scouting, Rossetti, I don't think a lot of people were familiar with his game.
I agree.
He was spitting facts about Saquon. He was saying a lot of smart things. And so I think he came off very well. And our boy Brown, he's going to get a GM job somewhere, be it not here. If Shane fails, I'd love for Brown to be our next GM. I'd love for him to take over.
Agreed.
But if we do good, then he's going to get a job somewhere else. One of the 2 things are going to happen.
Yeah, because then you could potentially keep Dable too.
Yeah,
Brown,
it could be.
Promote from within. Brown you could tell he was biting his tongue at some parts. Like I think he would do things differently. Yeah. And he just, every time he speaks, he seems like the smartest person in the room. And not in an arrogant way, in just a real way. He seems to see things the right way.
Just think about when he said, Patrick Mahomes can't play behind that line, right? No lie. Did you see Brandon Brown's face and the other guy next to him? They were like, I don't know. So how much tongue in cheek was that really? That their response or their reaction was like, I don't know, Joe.
Well, another thing I want to say is Tim McDonald is as dumb as we thought he was. He is just Like that's nepotism to the 10th degree, and the only reason why he's in that building is because he's, I think he married Mara's daughter, whatever. He is only there because he's related to Mara.
That is so ridiculous to just
so
hire
dumb.
But
if you think about every company, you have one of those guys in every single company that just was there because for no other reason because you're related to the owner or whatever. And that is clear with the he said, what is the face of our offense now if we let Saquon go? Oh, maybe the $40 million quarterback that we paid, or maybe the number 6 overall wide receiver that we just took. There's plenty of other faces that should be the face of these.
Yes.
It's very easy.
Yes.
It's very easy what the face should be.
Yes,
and
Queen.
Saquon
Go.
is the face of failure of this offense. This offense has been bottom of the league every year. And I won't blame Saquon for all of it, but he is the face of failure. So
right.
Yes,
and it's not
different now.
It's more of an indictment on failure to put no line together and lack of great quarterback play. That was another thing. Mara came off really bad in this. Really bad. But Mara said until we can prove that we can have a decent offense without Saquon, it's like, bro, you were banging the table for Daniel Jones.
Yes,
Why don't you look at the guy you're banging the table for and made this big contract come to fruition? You wanted Daniel Jones to hand the ball off to so that Saquon can be like the star and the face, then you didn't need to pay him $40 million.
I agree.
If he's not elevating and leading this offense, why did you pay him? And if Saquon goes, you shouldn't be sweating because you believe in your GM to build an offensive line and you believe in your quarterback. You should not sweat this. And that's what I meant by I don't see other teams sweating it. And then people are like, but you're not seeing behind the scenes. No, but I'm seeing Dalvin Cook walk after being a walking 1,000-yard running back every year in, year out. He just walked. So it happened. You see other teams just move on without a problem and draft well. You see in Pittsburgh, Najee Harris, big boy, bruising running back. This guy Warren right behind him is a machine. He's an absolute stud, and they're ahead. They're a 50-50 split now. Giants need to go in that direction. Don't get fucking so tied down because they're nice people.
I think they wanted to come off like that, though. I think they wanted to come off like they really tried to sign Saquon. They really loved him. I think that was all for the show because that was the face of their franchise they let walk, and there was more to him just being the running back. He was the face, not Daniel Jones. Saquon was the face. So I think they want to really hammer home the fact that they tried, they loved him, but it just didn't work.
They're not actors. These are
they're just not.
People,
they're not.
Right? And I think that was a genuine exchange. And the conspiracy theory, Eli, just let me go off for a second, gents. I'm sorry. But when they said, man, we did everything to screw this kid up, I think that was a call right there to say, you know what, Joe Schoen, we need to bring him back. You got to make sure we do everything possible to make sure we sign this guy.
And now they have.
And they signed him right after that. Then, hey, man, I think we need to keep Saquon. He's the most important part of this offense. He's the face of the franchise. And that was really Joe Schoen saying, no, I've learned from Daniel Jones. I'm telling you right now, John Mara definitely meddled in of having Daniel Jones back in this building. Hands the hell down. I don't care what Joe Schoen says as far as, I believe in this kid. That's more smoke and mirrors to me than the owner coming in and thinking that that's an acting job. That's more smoke and mirrors to me. You get what I'm saying? So that part right there shows that, listen, John Mara definitely meddled into having that quarterback back in this building. But we didn't want Saquon. Listen, the fans would have been happy with Saquon. But we understood the business. We were the first one that said on New York Revival, y'all need to let him walk. If you're a real Giants fan, let Saquon go and win somewhere else, right? Because we understood the money. It just didn't make sense. We were losing with him. So why keep him at this point? We understood that. We just said it without saying it. We said it the very nice way possible. But I'm telling you right now, this John Mara definitely meddled in at having Daniel Jones here. But Joe Schoen, man, I'm telling you right now, Joe Schoen, this is why I'm sitting back and I'm liking the direction he's going in. This is his team right now. There's no more John Mara that can meddle in this particular situation anymore. I really do. John Meddler. John Meddler. We're gonna make some shirts. His name's Meddle and Mara. We're gonna make that shirt. We're gonna have that shirt.
You heard it here first.
Meddle and Mara.
But listen, you're right. And again, I go back to this. I've said this a lot. Imagine you getting a new job And the first real off season that you have, or real decision that you have to make, your owner is saying, we need to do this. The balls that you would have to say, you know what? I just got this job. It's my first and only job. You trusted me. Fuck yourself. I'm not going to do that. It takes a lot of balls. And Joe didn't have the balls to do that year one. He didn't have the balls to do that. But I'd like to think now he's like, you know what? I'll give you your Daniel Jones. I gave you your Saquon for a year. I'm not letting you fucking push me around anymore. And he said that essentially with so many words with Saquon. And I like to think that that's going to be new Joe Shane moving forward, that this is his team. These are his balls on the table. This is his job. And he's not going to get pushed over anymore. And that's why I hope the Daniel Jones situation plays out.
That was a very telling exchange between Shane and Mara right there.
100%.
And the confidence in which Shane said, DJ's making $40 million. I have to go one way or another. Like he said that in a way that's like, you wanted Daniel Jones to get $40 million. So this is our situation. Like if that was all on Shane, he would be treading a lot more lightly with saying that, because that would have been on him, but he knows it was on Mara.
Yo, Hef, you hit it right on the freaking ball, man. This proves the theory that Mara definitely wanted Daniel Jones' hand. It wasn't a Joe Shane thing. That's what I think. And you hitting it right on the head. There's no other proof. I know Daniel Jones, the guy's gonna be in our comments. Oh, you guys are wrong. You guys are this. I'm reading people is what we do in a way. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like I think we're hitting the nail on the head. The owner meddled in that contract, but not with that Saquon. No, Mara. No. Shame on me if I freaking believe you this time. No. And you're not gonna fire me for that decision. No, because how the fans are gonna react to that one then? And we're still losing. How? Then we'll be in cap hell all over again. And the fans will be like, what is Joe Shane doing? This shows me competence at that front office at this point. It really does. Let me ask you guys this, man, and we're the heck up out of here. And etc. Let's just go to the defense a little bit, because I know we're supposed to go to the defense and went right back to the offense a little bit. Right? Brian Burns, we actually saw that exchange with Carolina and Joe Shane, how they're actually great damn buddies. It's crazy how Hard Knocks actually. But I'll tell you this, man, the way that exchange happened was really on some us at the bar, like, hey man, Spiro's available. That's how we pimp out Spiro, guys. Me and Spiro's available today. We can get him to have some. Yeah, look at Hef dying on there.
He'll do it.
Spiro would do it. But no, honestly, all joking aside, man, just to see that exchange go down, man, who would have thought that Burns trade will come out of that, man? And I know we touched it a little bit yesterday, but I just want to retouch it again because we actually saw it in this full, understanding there.
Glory.
But guys, is it impressive how that deal went down and how he was trying for 2 1s and really got a 2 and a 5?
2 and a 5.
That was impressive. I'm not even gonna lie how that thing went down, man. Like, let me get your thoughts on it, and I'm gonna start with you, Hef.
Yeah, why do you think Carolina didn't want Burns?
It's a good question too.
I know they're rebuilding. They had a bad season, but he's a young pass rusher, which is very he's 25. He's in his absolute prime. I know you'd have to pay him, but Carolina shouldn't have cap problems, should they? I mean, who the hell do they have? That would be costing money. They got a rookie quarterback, so I don't know. That was a little curious, and he was shopping him. Shane didn't ask for him. The guy shopped him. But on a side note, how cool for these dudes who got their jobs together 18 years ago or whatever it was, and now they're both fucking GMs, realizing their dream and then being able to make deals together. That's why it pays to have friends in this business. They say it's like a small circle, so the more friends you got, the more deals like that you can get done. And then Bean was just I can't afford a top 10. I'm out of this conversation.
I can't even afford it.
But it was definitely guys at the bar, just such high stakes of what they're talking about. But they were saying it very casually. But that was kind of cool. That was one of the cooler behind the scenes stuff. And I think we're going to get more of that in episode 2. Our friend Art Stapleton was saying a lot more combine content. So you're going to see a lot more probably sidebar conversations like that, which will be cool.
Absolutely.
Shout out to our guy, Art Stapleton. Speed, you got anything to add to that before we go?
Yeah, no. So what I'll say is, I think that Dan Morgan asking for 2 firsts, he knew he wasn't getting 2 firsts. But you again, that's how you start off any silly debate. Give me the world for this guy, and he's like, no fucking chance. And they say, all right, well, how about a first and something else? He's like, all right, well, we're talking now. Let's have a conversation. And that's how it's just funny how it transpired. But I don't think he actually expected to get 2 firsts for this guy. I think the Burns thing was a money play. Like I don't think they just wanted to give him the money that it required, so they can get anything for him, like a second, which is a high pick. They'll take that, and obviously you have the inside track when you're buddies with a GM on another team. To like even any Buffalo guys, we have the inside track to. Any Carolina guys, we have the inside track to. And any other Patriots guys, which I thought the Patriots thing was going to happen because of the ties between the two organizations. Maybe if Bill Belichick's there, maybe that does happen. I don't know. But it pays to have ties, and it pays to not burn bridges with other teams for this exact reason. You don't want to screw anybody over. You want to have open relationships with as many guys as possible. But it was really fun watching that whole transaction, the conversation happening. And I didn't know how close that Morgan and Shane actually were. They go on vacations with each other. They text each other every day. It was really cool to see. And that was this is why you watch Hard Knocks. You don't know shit like that until you see it like this. And that's why Hard Knocks does the best job.
And let me say this too before we get out of here, man. Do you think Joe Shane told him he was mic'd up? Now, let me tell you something in this business. Seize the moment, the revivalist of the month. Shout out to Seize, man. I appreciate you, man. But let me tell you something in this business that me and the guys go through. The one thing you always want to do is that if you're told something, is never to repeat it in this business, no matter what inside information you have. If you're told something, you're never to repeat it unless they want you to. Secondly, is always let them know when you're wearing a freaking wire. Yeah. So absolutely. Joe Shane was like, hell yeah, I'm mic'd up. And if you say something, that is on you. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So I'm telling you right now, definitely for sure. That's just the hidden rule in this business we're in. And we get a lot of information that we don't let out. We may drop a little nugget for you guys, and it's up to you to read between the lines. And if you can't, that's on you. Because some of us y'all be thinking some of us is crazy on here. We just got some stuff for y'all. But yeah, that's the rule of business, man. Shout out to C's, man. Revivalist of the month, man. Oh man, he got of course he had to go drop the super chat, man. Of course. Shout out to C's.
Yo, C's, the Frank Gore interaction. Yeah.
Listen, to comment on that really quick, man. I mean, I loved it. You know what? It shows that it was some sort of genuinity between him and Joe Shane. You know what I mean? Because don't forget, he was at Buffalo for a while as a running back, and he was always like, hey, Joe, look out for this running back. I think he'll be great. And I think they signed one of the running backs there that Frank Gore actually recommended. You know what I mean? I think he's still on the team. You know what I mean? So great interaction. I think Frank Gore is going to be a great scout or GM or whatever he wants to do in his business if he's looking at talent to that nature. I think
it may have been Singletary, right? Before I
think it was. Wow. Yeah.
Well, I think they were talking about like Frank Gore is like, hey, you gotta take a look at this guy, and that's Buffalo ended up grabbing him. So it makes sense. I mean, it was a cool interaction, and if Frank Gore, he played for like 20 years, right? Like that dude was in the NFL forever.
Oh, yeah. He knows running backs.
Yeah, so it's cool to get to the next level with a bigger job in the NFL. Coming from Buford here, and this is what I really hope to be true is that like, the Shane you saw in that back and forth with Mara is the dude willing to step up to Mara at this point and say that's not how we're doing it. And now that Barkley's gone, Daniel Jones is already under contract.
So that's it.
He should have just full reign now. Like, Daniel Jones is going to be the biggest remaining factor, depending how this season goes, because everyone's been talking for 2 years. Hey, there's an out after 2 years. There's an out. Well, guess what? That's going to be after this season. So unless it's a 10-win season and back in the playoffs, it's going to be a conversation of what the Giants do. And even if they draft one, they may keep him to have a veteran at that point under center. So I hope he's right. I hope
that's it. Jeff, that's it. Because the last really tough decision that the owner would probably meddle in, not the last, because drafting your next quarterback theoretically it will be another tough decision. But getting rid of somebody, Daniel Jones is the last one. Saquon and Daniel Jones was always going to be the problem, and he navigated it a certain way. He failed maybe a little bit with the contract. And the success of letting Saquon go now and realizing, I think that was a plus there. But there's no more ties, and if Daniel Jones goes out and has a bad season, they really don't have a leg to stand on. There's no more giving him another chance for even Mara to say, like, you've gotten your chances. You've gotten 6 of them. I think that's enough at this point. So
yes.
That's the last leg.
Spee, help me understand. His guaranteed money would be almost completely paid, right?
Yeah, the big money's gone.
Would his cap hit still be in the 40 range? Or
No,
is it much lesser.
I don't think it is. It's less.
Okay.
Let me give you the exact numbers.
I think it's like 2022 or something that he's owed next year, and then is it just incentives on top of that?
Yeah. So the dead money. Well, so 2025 there's 22 mil, and then 2026 there's 11 of dead money. 22 mil is nothing to sneeze at, obviously, but you can get over that. You can get over that number. Like it would have been 41 if they keep him. So like, look at that. That's a $19 million cap saving right there.
Well, let me say this. I don't know if they're able to get over that 22 million because don't forget the NFL just lost a lawsuit with one of these apps here. So, and the owners got to pay like $300 and something million for that money to go back to some of these apps here. So that might play into a factor of the salary cap too in the upcoming future. But that's another story. We're gonna break that down.
We'll see.
We're gonna break that down.
They're just making it so much money hand over fist that I don't think the NFL. That's gonna be
that's a small tax for them.
Yeah.
Quick comment. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw that
in the UK. Normally 2 a.m. Sorry.
Look at that. G-Man, we love you.
Well, we love you too.
Brother.
This is probably like you're having your beer, work day is done. That's where G-Man's at right now.
We respect you for and we'll try to do a lot more of these daytime pop-up things. I think this is a good recap day for us. So if you want
Wednesday morning,
I think we're gonna do Wednesday mornings from here on in.
All right, tell your friends. Tell your friends.
Tell your friends out there.
But guys, yes, this is we went longer than expected as usual.
I know.
Doing a show like this, but this is what we do. We start talking, we get to talking. This is what we do. You got to see us in person, which we're gonna have something very soon. You see us in person, guys. We're gonna start giving away some merch as well. New York Revival merch. We're gonna have it signed and give it to you guys as well. All three of us will sign it, ship it out to you. We're gonna start doing some raffles, etc. Maybe do something for charity as well. So look out for that, man. It's coming very, very soon. Just listen out for the announcement. We hope we can get delivered to you guys very soon. But shout out to you guys, the revivalists in the chat. Please hit that thumbs up, share it, subscribe. Big Blue. Yeah, shout out, man.
Dude, I'm wearing the fucking shirt for our guys. Big Blue UK. I'm sure G-Man knows, man.
Of course, man. Shout out. And of course, man, shout out to the revivalists. Please hit that thumbs up, share, and subscribe. We do appreciate all the support. Don't forget, we're on Spotify, iTunes. Go over there, hit that follow button. Help us out as well. The numbers are doing incredible. So please keep going over there and listen to the playback as well in your car, headphones, when the boss is yelling at you, whatever you're doing. Just listen to us, man. We'll calm you down a little bit, all right? And, of course, on behalf of my brother, Mr. Glass Half Full of Nets, speak if you nasty now. And my brother El Jefe, aka White Jersey, aka Blue Jersey, aka Joe Shane. You better get it together.
Get it together, Grouch.
Get it together, Grouch. Get it together, Grouch.
Get it together, Grouch. Bitch, I live in a fucking trash can.
That's Dave Chappelle cutting a rug. And of course, the show boy Eli Rats, aka Vibes. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace and blessings. Yes, sir.
New York Revival, I'm in the building.
Let's
go.
Live with the Woodward Roll!
go.
Let's go!